So we now have some official breaking news regarding one of the Game of Thrones successor shows. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight, is now officially announced via, HBO Max Twitter and Game of Thrones Twitter, House of the Dragon. It says, a century before A Game of Thrones, there was Ser Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg. Executive producer George R.R. Martin, Ira Parker, Ryan Condell, who we also know is executive producer on House of the Dragon. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight, has received a straight to series order and will be releasing on Max, as HBO Max is now going to be rebranded as Max here in about a month. So now we just have that official news. This is something George R.R. Martin has talked about. A lot of these successor shows to Game of Thrones, this is one of the ones that he had been talking about, and there are direct source material for this series. You have the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms big book, which you can check out, which contains 3 short stories. You have A Hedge Knight, which is the first one where we meet Ser Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg, who has a little bit of a secret to him, which I'm sure will be revealed in, I'm guessing, season 1. Then you have the Sworn Sword, and then you have the Mystery Knight. Now, the only problem with this series is that, sort of unlike House of the Dragon, which has a sort of completed outline, this is just kind of like Game of Thrones, where George hasn't actually finished writing the material we could see for this show. We sort of know how these characters' arc will end. In some of the big events, there's like a really loose outline. This was also supposed to be sort of a 7-book little series, or at least smaller series, but George has not finished writing it in detail yet, but at least we do know the ending to these characters. So just sort of the official confirmation that this is being announced today as we look down the road to what shows are going to be following Game of Thrones. But of course, we still are waiting on that official HBO Max or Warner Brothers announcement of the Snow series. So kind of interesting that we're getting an official release of this first.